Mr. Deputy Speaker.
Order.
Item 1, resumption of debate on the CareShield Life and Long-Term Care Bill, second reading.
Ms. Jessica Tan.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, disability can occur at any time to anyone, young or old. None of us can anticipate when we could be hit by a sudden illness or sustain an injury that could affect our ability to go about essential daily activities and to work. If we are not financially prepared, this will have serious impact on our life and our families. While we would not wish for anyone to be severely disabled, we cannot predict when and who it will impact. I have a resident who in his early 40s suffered a stroke. He was severely disabled as a result of the stroke. Before the stroke, he was gainfully employed, and the dual income that he and his wife made was more than sufficient to comfortably support his family and their 3 young children. Not only has the stroke rendered him unable to work, he needs to be assisted in his daily activities. His wife's single income is now supporting his ongoing care needs as well as their children. His family does also receive financial assistance. However, financing his ongoing care needs as well as supporting the family's expenses has been and continues to be financially challenging for his wife and the children. If he had had coverage similar with benefits like CareShield Life, while it would not cover all the cost required for him, the monthly payout of $600 a month for as long as he's severely disabled would have provided some financial relief. I've also had several residents seek financial assistance for the long-term care needs of their parents who have become severely disabled and need to stay in a nursing home. For some in the lower middle income group, even with government subsidies, they still have to pay about $1,000 a month for their parents' nursing home care. For middle income families that don't qualify for government subsidies, the cost is a few thousands a month. I have witnessed many families that are not financially prepared for such expenses and face difficulty in making these payments. If their parents had coverage for the disability similar to that of CareShield Life, the monthly payout would have helped alleviate some of the costs. So I'm supportive of the bill to provide long-term care financing support for severely disabled persons. But I do have some clarification and feedback on CareShield Life and long-term care. The bill seeks to make CareShield Life compulsory for those born on or after 1980 and those 30 years old on or after 2020. Those in this age group are in their 30s and 40s, and 30s to 40s, and are at a stage of their life where they have many responsibilities and financial demands. Example, if they're married and have children, they would need to support their young families and pay the mortgages on their homes. They may also have to take care of an aged parent. As enrollment into CareShield Life is compulsory and not an option for this group, how can they be assured that CareShield Life premiums are fair and competitive as compared to premiums of other similar insurance covered by other entities, private entities? With the scheme being compulsory, the risk pool will be large and it will be expected that premiums will be affordable. What assurance is there for Singaporeans that premiums will be kept low and affordable? As it's been stated that payouts will increase about 2% each year to adjust for the higher cost of long-term care in future, premiums will be expected to increase in tandem. So with the transitional subsidies and means-tested subsidies, will they be sufficient to keep premiums affordable? And can MOH also assure that, that for our people in this age group, that taking long-term care coverage at a young age, that they would be better off than delaying that to a later time? Given that the various healthcare coverage plans and schemes that are already in place, more information should also be shared to show how CareShield Life complements and is not a duplication. Feedback from the ground is that there are so many schemes and eligibility criteria for these schemes, and understanding the various schemes and objectives can be quite confusing. So while MediSave funds can be used to make payments for CareShield Life premiums, with the changing employment trends and disruption in jobs and disruptions in jobs and employments, income contribution to MediSave may be affected. And this may impact ability to make payout for CareShield Life and other premiums like MediShield Life and integrated shield plans. So what are the implications if an individual loses his job? And will his coverage lapse if he's unable to pay for his CareShield Life premiums? And what help, if any, can he get to assist him during this period when there's disruption? In terms of qualifying for payouts and disability assessment, the first schedule in the bill outlines the definition of a person with severe disability to be his or her ability to perform 3 of the 6 activities of daily living, or ADLs, set out for CareShield Life. Feedback, and as we've heard from many other members in this chamber, is that the criteria for at least 3 ADLs may be somewhat strict. But regardless, when one is already in this unfortunate position of being afflicted with disability, what help will there be to ensure that the process for disability assessment and eligibility will not be onerous? And for those with 2 ADLs on the CareShield Life scheme, who are already who do participate in the CareShield Life scheme, and they are not eligible for the claim payouts when they do get disabled, do they need to continue to pay future premiums for CareShield Life if they are unable to work or to continue to work? And will their ability, because this will affect their ability to afford premiums in the future if they are already unable to do the 2 ADLs. So could Minister share how this group would be treated if they do have ADLs but are not able to qualify for the payouts? For older Singaporeans born in 1979 or earlier, CareShield Life is not compulsory, and they have a choice to decide on whether they wish to participate. I'm going to ask some operational and procedural or practical questions with regards to CareShield Life. Can MOH share how and when this cohort of older Singaporeans will be informed of the details of eligibility and the amount of premium they need to pay to participate in CareShield Life if they choose to do so? And the reason why I'm asking is that during the briefings that I conducted with our Merdeka generation seniors, it was quite interesting because many expressed interest to participate in CareShield Life. But they do, however, need to have more information to help them understand CareShield Life, most importantly, to assess if they can afford it and how to participate. And some of the MG seniors I met, fortunately I had to say this, but many actually that I met also weren't sure whether they were on ElderShield or not, because they said, don't know whether I opted in or whether I opted out. So they do need some help to also check on that. I do also want to take the opportunity at this point to also give feedback, because the information online with regards to CareShield Life has been actually quite comprehensive, and at the same time the calculator, the online calculator for CareShield Life premiums is very easy to use and very simple. The only problem is you need to have certain information, like whether you have ElderShield or not, or whether you have, and so for some of our seniors, they could answer all the other questions except that, so they couldn't estimate. So I think these are very practical, but important matters that I hope that more clarity can be provided to our seniors soon. With regards to the definition of disability, I also want to touch on the point of mental health conditions. Because CareShield Life's definition of severe disability today is based on the activities for daily living with the emphasis of physical disabilities. How will mental health conditions and dementia, for example, be assessed? Mental illness and dementia can significantly impair cognitive and behavioral functioning and can interfere with normal activities and relationships. These can have this can be as disabling as any other physical disabilities. Dementia and mental illnesses are sometimes called invisible disabilities and may impact an individual's ability to do essential daily activities. So I hope that we can look at how mental illness and conditions like dementia could be treated or would be assessed together with the ADLs. Based on the report on the burden of disease in Singapore between 1990 to 2017, Singapore faces a challenge shared by many developed countries. So while life expectancy has increased, the number of years that is spent in poor health has not decreased. Lifestyle and habits increase the risk of disability. The leading risk factors affecting health in Singapore in 2017 were dietary risk, tobacco, high blood pressure, and high blood sugar. The leading cause of years lived with disability in Singapore were musculoskeletal disorders, mental disorders, unintentional injuries, and neurological disorders. So it's important that we leverage on the data that we have on our healthcare trends and assess the risks together with, and also encourage regular health screening, because I believe that this will help support early detection and enable appropriate and timely interventions. This may help mitigate some of the risk of severe disability associated with chronic illness and enable Singaporeans to live better quality lives. Mr. Deputy Speaker, notwithstanding my clarifications and comments, I support the bill.